Okay, certainly. I tied up some stuff. I got a phone call, so.
Mr. Clark? Go ahead and shut the door. I think we're ready.
All right, getting our recorders going. Oh, make sure you speak up if you do have an objection, because it seems like you're a little soft-spoken, so we'll just put that kind of in between. And would you like me to swear in the witness?
Yes, please do.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sure do.
Are you gonna say who's present?
Oh, I usually don't do that, usually,
Oh, okay.
if you want to.
Ted Keller, plaintiff.
Larry Crop, new attorney.
For defendant. Then Leo Straley.
Straley.
Okay. Would you state your full name for the record?
Paul Cletus Murphy, Paulcletus MURPHY.
And I assume based upon the fact that you're a licensed practicing attorney, that you've been through more than one deposition, is that correct?
It doesn't matter how many I have, but I've been through a deposition.
Yeah. So you would understand that when a question is asked, that you're not to use head turns or signals other than verbal communication, correct?
I understand that.
Okay. So, a little background. What year were you born, Paul?
I think you already know that.
Well, for the record, could you go ahead and state it?
1967,
Okay. And where were you born?
Carrington.
Okay. And how long have you lived in Carrington?
Off and on my whole life.
Okay, from 67 till what date did you move from Carrington?
I went to college at UND, and I returned back here permanently in 94. No, yeah, 94.
So you've lived here uninterrupted since 1994?
Yes.
Okay. And you lived at no other addresses?
No.
Can you explain your educational background, Mr. Murphy?
Starting when?
Starting after you graduated from high school.
Went to UND. Went to UND in Grand Forks for 4 years, went to law school for 3 more.
And when you were at UND for 4 years, what type of classes were you taking then?
All kinds of different classes.
Did you take pre-law classes?
They don't have a pre-law major.
Okay. So your first law classes were at the law school at UND, is that correct?
No, I took a business law class.
Okay. And that was in when you were pre-law school, correct?
It was in my undergrad.
Okay. And when you took your classes at UND, your law classes at UND, did they ever have any classes on ethics?
In pre-law or in,
Both.
I never took any in pre-law, but an ethics class is required.
It is. It's required for law school?
Yes.
Are you required to pass the ethics classes?
You have to pass your classes to graduate.
Then once you graduated from UND Law School, you took a test to become a member of the bar, correct?
Yes.
And did you pass that test?
I think you know the answer to that question.
Well,
You don't have to.
Excuse me.
You know the answer to that question.
You're assuming things. You didn't let me finish the rest of the question. Did you pass the law school, did you pass the bar on the first test?
What does that have to do with this case?
That's a question.
No,
Did you pass it on the second time that you took the test?
no,
Did you pass it on the third time you took the test?
no,
Did you pass it on the fourth time you took the test?
yes.
Okay. And when you were taking these bar exams, were there any questions in reference to ethics?
Rephrase the, or would you repeat the question?
Was any part of the bar exam concerning the issue of ethics as an attorney?
No,
There was no part of the bar exam that went into ethics.
not that I recall.
So, as an attorney, you do understand that your behavior has to be ethical, correct?
What does this have to do with the case?
I'm asking the question, will you please answer the question?
I am guided by the ethical rules, yes.
And these are the ethical rules that are listed as the canons of ethics by the North Dakota State Bar, correct?
There are several ethics rules that are in administrative rules.
Would any of those rules concern, as an example, misleading another party in a litigation?
I guess if you can cite the rule, I can tell you if it says that.
So, would there be any rules under the canons of ethics for attorneys in regards to making false representations to the court?
Canada, the tribunal, yes.
Okay, and I understand that you have an opinion that I and my wife are of low character for some reason. Can you explain that?
You're assuming that that's how I feel. I have no opinion towards you in your way, as far
Well,
as your ethics.
If you were called to testify as a character witness, what type of testimony would you give to the court?
I don't associate with you, so I have nothing as far as in reference to you.
Well, you're listed by Mr. Kropp here as a character witness. You do know that, correct?
It's the first I've heard of it.
So prior to today, you did not know that Mr. Kropp was going to plan on calling you, you were on his list of witnesses?
I figured that I was on somebody's list at some point, that's why I'm here.
So prior to today, he never consulted with you about any potential testimony that you may be able to give in the case that he has with this client before the court?
He did talk to me.
Well, what did he say?
I don't remember the exact words.
Well, did you talk about the weather?
I don't recall the exact words.
Did you talk about previous court cases that I may not have had?
I believe so.
Well, what did you talk about when you're referring to the previous court cases? Which case was in particular that you wanted to talk about, or you did talk about?
I made mention that you had been involved in litigation, and it was on the system, and he can look into it and talk to the attorneys that were involved in that.
So you're not an expert on Ted Keller's propensity to file lawsuits against people?
I don't know that anybody can be an expert in that.
So you don't think that's possible to be an expert?
I'm not an expert in what you do. I've never seen you in court, I've never dealt with you in court, I've never...
Prior to recently, you used to be the state's attorney in Foster County, correct?
Yeah, you know that.
When did you become the state's attorney for the first time in Foster County?
I believe it was 2002.
And you were elected to that position, correct?
That's how you get the job.
And was there any other opponent when you ran?
Yes,
Who was it?
it was my wife, ex-wife. Wife at the time, ex-wife now.
Oh, okay. And So that was in 2002, correct?
I
That you won the
answered that
election?
already.
Okay. And what is the duties of a state's attorney?
They're statutory. You know exactly what they are.
Well, are any of the duties associated with advising the commission or the county?
You know the answer to that question.
Well,
They're
no, I
statutory.
don't know. See, I'm in pro
They're
se, so I'm not
statutory.
very smart. Could you please
That's a
answer
lie.
the question?
That's a lie.
Can
You know
please-
exactly what the,
you know, I'm gonna ask the questions, and no matter how rhetorical you may think they are, you're instructed to answer them. The question is, what do you perceive your duties are as a state's attorney for Foster County?
they're statutory.
So, everything that's listed in there on the statute as your duties are all the duties that you would perform, correct?
Yes.
Would one of the duties by any chance be advising the commission to avoid lawsuits?
I don't believe that's listed as the duty in the law. It does not say that.
Is one of the duties to sue and defend on behalf of the county?
Sure is.
Okay. And would it be advisable as a state's attorney to advise would you be doing your job properly as a state's attorney, advising the commission, as an example, to break the law?
That's opinion.
Oh. Are you familiar with public records laws?
Not all of them.
Are you familiar with the public records law in regards to records, per se? County records?
Which one in particular?
All of them. All the records that are located in the auditor's
No, which
office.
public law are you referring to?
I'm talking about the North Dakota Century Code 44, hold on a second, I'll tell you in just a minute. But I think you're familiar with that.
Open records?
Open records,
Yes.
okay. On more than one occasion, have you advised any commissioner member, on at least one occasion or more than one occasion, have you advised any commissioner to withhold records from a citizen?
I don't recall that I've ever done that.
Are you familiar with the case entitled 1608C0065, and it's entitled Ted Keller versus Foster County Commission? It was filed on August 27th of 2008. Are you familiar with that?
Nope.
You're not familiar with that?
Nope.
Would it surprise you that you wrote a letter in regards to that case?
It wouldn't surprise me.
But you can't remember what it was, do you remember what it was concerned with?
Nope.
What if I told you that it was involving letters that were written to our previous state commissioner, James Carr, and you advised him to withhold the letters? Would that be possible?
I guess the letter would speak for itself.
Are you familiar with a company called CoreLogic?
I remember CoreLogic being involved with some records for the county.
In what manner?
I don't recall. It was with the auditor's office. I don't recall.
Well, this was, did that case involve an attorney general's opinion?
I don't recall. I already answered that. I don't recall the case.
You don't recall, do you have trouble with memory, Paul?
Nope.
Are you currently taking any drugs for any reason?
No.
And you can't remember a case, it was the Attorney General's opinion, 2008-019, issued July 15, 2008, and it involved you directly. It involved CoreLogic asking for records that were public records, and you wrote them a letter. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the letter.
Well,
8 years
maybe-
ago,
maybe this-
9 years ago almost.
Maybe this, well, actually it's 9 years ago. And this is from the Attorney General's opinion. I have reviewed your letter. This is a letter from, I reviewed your letter.
I'm sorry,
He's a defendant.
oh, I had to put that in.
I have reviewed your letter dated October 17, 2007. You are interpreting North Dakota law. I am curious if you, a licensed attorney in North Dakota, that's the way you wrote it. You forgot to put the R in. The day I spoke to our county employee, he seriously misquoted $94. You do remember that letter, don't you?
You know, it's been 8 years ago, I don't remember the
Well,
letter. It
How many,
speaks for itself.
how often has the Attorney General issued an opinion that pointed out that you gave someone advice not to do something? In other words, provide a record. How often has that happened to you? How often has the Attorney General issued an opinion that had you in it?
I don't know.
You don't know this?
I don't keep track of that.
How often, does it happen more than once?
I said I don't know. I don't keep track of
Did it
it.
happen at least once?
I don't know.
So you don't remember the opinion that I referred to?
I don't keep track of that, no.
You don't remember the case that I brought against Foster County for records that you advised Jimmy Carr to withhold? You don't remember that case?
Nope.